Create a variable set. Click the folder icon to create a group for the sketches. Open the Sketcher workbench and create a sketch on the XY plane. Label the sketch and move it into the Sketches group. Create two rectangles. Make them symmetric about the sketch origin with the symmetry constraint. The outer dimension is 2.54 millimeters. The inner dimension is 1 millimeter. Store the variable as a named parameter in the variable set. Select adjacent sides of each rectangle and apply the equal constraint. Open the PartDesign workbench. Create a new body for the housing. Select the header XY sketch and create a SubShapeBinder. Hide the sketch. Select the outer face of the SubShapeBinder and select Pad. Open the Sketcher workbench. Create a new sketch on the XZ plane. Move the sketch into the Sketches group. Draw a rectangle constrained to the x-axis of this sketch. Create a construction point on the midline of the rectangle on the x-axis. Select the outer x-axis vertices of the rectangle as well as the construction point. Apply the symmetry constraint. Select the construction point and sketch origin point. Apply the coincident constraint. Remove redundant constraints as needed. Select the outer x-axis points of the rectangle and apply a horizontal distance constraint. Select the outer y-axis points of the rectangle and apply a vertical distance constraint. Open the PartDesign workbench, select the sketch, create a SubShapeBinder, and provide a label. With the SubShapeBinder selected, create a two-dimensional pocket. Select the sketch, create another SubShapeBinder, and provide a label. Rotate this SubShapeBinder 90 degrees, create a two-dimensional pocket. Create a MultiTransform. Add all three features from the active body. Right-click, add a transformation, add linear pattern. Mode spacing. Spacing equals VarSet point pitch. Occurrence is 20. Enable direction to base y-axis. Mode spacing. The spacing is VarSet point pitch. Occurrence is 2. Select the XZ cut sketch and create a SubShapeBinder. Rotate and translate the SubShapeBinder. Apply pocket. Create a new sketch on the XZ plane. Move the sketch into the Sketches group. Create a rectangle constrained to the x-axis. Create a construction point coincident with the rectangle on the x-axis. Select the outer x-axis vertices of the rectangle as well as the construction point. Apply the symmetry constraint. Select the construction point and sketch origin point. Apply the coincident constraint. Remove redundant constraints as needed. Select the joining sides of the rectangle and apply the equal constraint. Apply vertical distant constraint. Select XZ score sketch. Create a SubShapeBinder. Translate and rotate the SubShapeBinder. Apply pocket. Create a MultiTransform. Add the pocket tool shape. Base x-axis. Mode spacing. VarSet point pitch *2. Occurrence is 9. Enable direction to base z-axis. Mode spacing. VarSet point pitch minus 0.1 millimeters. Occurrence is 2. Create a new sketch on the XZ plane. Move the sketch into the Sketches group. Draw an ellipse from center point. First select the sketch origin, then y-axis, then x-axis. Define a horizontal distance constraint of 0.2 millimeters. Define vertical distance constraint of 0.4 millimeters. Apply a vertical constraint to the vertical axis of the ellipse. Remove redundant constraints as needed. Select the sketch and create a SubShapeBinder. Translate the SubShapeBinder. X equals VarSet point pitch, y equals minus VarSet point pitch. Hide the sketch. Select the SubShapeBinder and create a pocket. Create a MultiTransform. Add the pocket tool shape. Base x-axis. Mode spacing. VarSet point pitch. Occurrence is 19. Enable direction to base y-axis. Mode spacing. VarSet point pitch. Occurrence is 3. During recording, I encountered a FreeCAD bug which prevented editing the linear pattern in the task window. I was able to work around it by adjusting the data window. This bug has since been fixed. Create a new body labeled pins. Add variable set parameters for pin lengths. Select the header XY sketch and create a SubShapeBinder. Select the interior face and pad. Select the upper and lower faces of the pin body and create a chamfer. Create a MultiTransform. Add the pad and chamfer tool shape features. Add a linear transformation. Mode spacing. Distance VarSet point pitch. Occurrence is 20. Enable direction 2. Base y-axis. Mode spacing. Distance VarSet point pitch. Occurrence is 2. Change the pin body material to copper. Change the housing material to ABS.